Hi, this is Jason Fierstein with Phoenix Men's Counseling, and uh, I don't even know what day this is. This has been now maybe 4 or 5 weeks, I think. People with kids I know are home. Uh, Probably also forgot what day of the week or what day of the month this is, but we are all attempting to get through this coronavirus and shutdown together. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about your feelings, specifically around anger and irritability, and how you can better deal with those things at home, especially if you're a guy. I work both with men and women, but I know that anger is often a protective layer for men that covers up, some of the other feelings that are going on. And I think right now, during the coronavirus and shutdown and all the other problems and issues that we're dealing with as a society are just bringing up to the forefront all possible emotions and combinations of emotions, from fear to boredom to frustration and irritability to panic. Um, all of those base level emotions, survival instincts, those are all getting kind of brought up to the surface. I'm thinking about that scene in Ghostbusters where they unleash all of the ghosts and they all come out through the streets and buildings, and it's just like a full frontal attack. That's how I experience this, in a number of ways, but I think emotionally too. um, we're all having a really difficult time dealing with our emotions. And so, specifically on anger, I think that there are some things that you can do to prevent yourself from reacting, um, specifically around just taking care of yourself. There is a lot that you can move or manipulate just by eating regularly and eating the right foods, getting the right amount of sleep, if you're not too anxious and your anxiety is not keeping you up at night. Exercising where you can. I know the gyms aren't open, and we have to do the best that we can. But I think keeping those structural things like uh, eating regularly and well, watching the caffeine and the sugar and the alcohol, those are all things that are going to make you feel more depressed or depress you more, or limit you mentally or emotionally. I'm not saying that to not do them, but I'm just saying watch them, or be moderate with them, because they're going to affect your mood, and you may get quicker to trigger with anger or resentment. So those basic things, if you are getting triggered, I think it's important to just recognize, what is it that's triggering you? What are your triggers? We all have triggers, and typically there are people in our lives that will do the triggering. So I think knowing what those things are, knowing what people's habits are, idiosyncrasies, and knowing them and expecting that they're going to do that, especially if they are in lockdown with you, if it's your wife or your kids or roommates, know those particular habits and know that they may say or do or not do things that are going to trigger you. So expect that, and try to have conversations with people if you can approach that in a productive way. Sometimes people are conflict avoidant. They don't want to have that conversation beforehand, especially if nothing is bad that's happening at the time. But I really would try to encourage you to have those conversations and try to preempt them being triggered beforehand. If you do get triggered, it is your responsibility to say something to your spouse or your significant other, or people that you need to say, rather than just holding it and stuffing it. When you stuff your frustration or your anger, it's just compressing it. So it still stays there, but it's got more pressure. So it's going to pop, or it's going to come out sideways or in a more disruptive way, rather than if you deal with it and talk it through. So I think that's really important, especially for men who tend to withdraw or remove themselves from a situation because they don't want to get angry, or they're scared of their anger, or they're scared of creating conflict with their spouse. So that's really important to know that if you are a withdrawer, you know, you may need to reconsider that as an option and consider getting assertive or saying what's on your mind rather than resorting to stuffing it, especially in lockdown where we're just in our houses most of the day or all night. You know, there's nowhere to run. If we feel things, we're going to have to talk about them, really, to have them out. So that's really important. That's the interpersonal part, knowing yourself, knowing your triggers, communicating effectively with the people who share that space with you to create as much harmony as you can. You know, other things may trigger you. Your kids, certainly, if they're at home and they are acting out, you know, are there more productive ways that you can deal with them? Can you deal with them more behaviorally, or speak to them in a soft tone, or teach them, use that as a learning opportunity rather than just barking at them or being short with them? Because, you know, it won't feel very good. You'll end up feeling guilty or remorseful that you're not treating your kids the best way that you could. Also, watch for secondary emotions, you know, like I mentioned, fear or panic or boredom or frustration or loss or sadness. Those are all real emotions, and they're probably going to happen to you if they haven't already in multiple quantities, you know, in multiple combinations. They're all going to come up and they're going to happen. So the better you can recognize those underlying or primary emotions, the better you'll be able to communicate them to whoever is you're communicating with, and it'll make it a lot easier rather than have people start to react to you in your anger if you're taking it out, or your frustration. A lot of guys just have a problem simply saying that they're angry. They're just saying they're stressed, or they're salty, or they're irritable, but maybe it really is anger, and maybe there's something that you need to do to address it. We're all in the same boat. We're all feeling all of those things. As far as what's going on in society, yeah, you may be frustrated that society continues to be shut down, or that the economy or the stock market are not doing well, or that you've lost a bunch of money in your retirement accounts. That's totally normal. You know, that's understandable. But the better you can talk through those fears and the loss and your emotions about that, not only will you be minimizing conflict with your partner, let's say, but you might even grow the relationship even more, because they will feel like you're letting them in, and that would really create a deeper connection. So those are some things to think about. Some quick strategies, though, if you do get triggered or you get angry or irritable, you might want to try going outside and exercising, taking a walk, or doing some light jogging or running if you haven't tried that. That will definitely help you feel better from a physical point of view. You can take a shower. You can take a hot shower, and we generally tend to feel better, and sometimes that's an opportunity to process those negative feelings in the shower or in your car. You know, you could even take a drive if you need to by yourself. Put the music on and start to, you know, channel some of your energy into that. You can call a friend or someone close to you. There are, you know, a lot of ways that you can go about redistributing or funneling that negative or angry energy, even if we don't have all the outlets that we typically have. So hopefully these are some thoughts for you to consider when you're in lockdown and dealing with frustration or anger or irritability, to try to create the best of a bad situation. So anything I can do for you, please reach out. You can contact me through our website, or you can book an appointment online if you like, and I'm happy to talk with you. But good luck. We are in this together, for better or for worse, and hopefully this will end at some point soon. So be well and take care.